to our show today. My name is Cindy Speaker. I have with me as my guest attorney Nathan Guin of Gardberg and Kemmerly. Nathan, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. It's always great to be here and get some good information out to our veterans.
Yes. Well, Nathan, we're going to talk about, obviously, veterans disability law, but we're going to talk about Agent Orange and what you call presumptive issues, which I know you're going to tell us what they are. I don't know what they are, but you'll explain that. But let's start off by talking about what exactly is Agent Orange.
Okay, so Agent Orange is basically the slang term, for lack of a better word, for any kind of herbicides that were used during the Vietnam War, and specifically in country in Vietnam, certain places around the DMZ in Korea, as well as around the perimeters of certain Air Force bases in Thailand. Different things like that. So Agent Orange is not technically speaking an actual herbicide. There's not something with a big barrel that says, hey, this is Agent Orange, but it's a lot of things that were used to kill vegetation with all that jungle warfare that was going on to help our soldiers be able to see better, be able to move better. So that's what it was. They sprayed it on pretty much everything to kill down all the vegetation.
Okay. So did we did that?
Yeah, so our military sprayed it basically in an attempt to, because there's a lot of guerrilla jungle warfare going on over there, which they were used to, but obviously we were not. So trying to get it a little bit cleared out, trying to get it cleared out so that we can move through and basically have our missions handled in the right way without having to worry about getting ambushed in the jungle as much, especially around our bases, so they could see if there's anybody trying to approach. Or anything like that. So they sprayed it pretty much everywhere that they thought it was necessary.
Wow. Okay, and what all you said everywhere, but where is everywhere?
If you were in the field, like if you were in Vietnam at all, if you were to step foot in the country of Vietnam, then it's presumed during a specific period of time during the Vietnam War, which was, I don't think the exact dates, but it's about a 13, 15-year period. If you step foot in Vietnam, then you're presumed to have been exposed to Agent Orange because it was so widely used in Vietnam. Now, in situations with Korea or with Thailand, like in Thailand specifically, it was used at Thai Air Force bases around the perimeter. So specifically, if you were a security officer, a military police, something like that, where you had to patrol the perimeter as part of your duties, then you would be presumptively service-connected if you can show that you did those jobs. There are other ways to get service connected, but that's, if you were in Thailand and you weren't specifically within those MOSs or those occupational specialties or anything like that. But those are the ways that you could do it through Thailand and through the DMZ. If you work specific duties, then that would be enough to presume exposure. But if you're in Vietnam at all or in certain waters within Vietnam, then you're also presumptively service connected.
Okay.
For certain issues.
Explain these presumptive issues and how they factor in.
Okay, so there's about 15 presumptive issues. And basically, by presumptive issue, it means, hey, if you step foot in Vietnam and we can prove it, or if you were on the perimeter like we were talking about at the Air Force bases in Thailand, basically, if you can show that you were in an area or had a particular specialty that would put you in an area with Agent Orange, and you have any of these 15 issues at all. And the most common ones we see are diabetes, coronary artery disease / ischemic heart disease, prostate cancer, Parkinson's disease, and non-Hodgkin's lymphoma are the main ones that we see. If you're even diagnosed with those and you can show that you step foot in the country of Vietnam or any of those other places, they will service connect you right then and there for that issue. Now, the percentages obviously would be up in the air based on the medical records, but if you were in Vietnam or any of these places and you have any of these service or any of these conditions that are just diagnosed, there doesn't have to be a nexus, no medical opinion, and then you can get service connected for those.
What's unbelievable is when you start naming off these diseases and things like that, it's unbelievable that things like Agent Orange or these pesticides even exist. I mean, they're so that dangerous that
and hopefully they don't anymore. I hope they don't anymore. I think that a lot of things have been outlawed since then, but it is crazy. And a lot of things now especially in Afghanistan and Iraq with all the burn pits, that's going to be this generation's Agent Orange. So I think this video, if you were in the Gulf War or have been overseas recently, pay attention because a lot of these things might apply to you in a couple years down the road, or maybe a decade or two down the road when they do some research. There might be presumptive issues for that too. So it's something to look out for, and it's obviously kind of a shame you wouldn't you would hope that they wouldn't use things that would have adverse effects on our own people too. Really, I know that it's war, and there's obviously adverse effects on some people, but obviously you wouldn't want your people to come back and then 40 years later develop cancer because they were serving their country.
Right, right.
That's something that you wouldn't want, and
Yeah,
obviously
yeah.
something that they should be compensated for.
Sure, yeah. Well, you kind of went over this, but explain for us, how do you prove entitlement to service connection for presumptive issue based on exposure to Agent Orange?
So, like if your personnel records, which will be in your claims file, if you have a DD-214, or a lot of people will have certain medals from their service that will show that they were in Vietnam. Basically, there's going to be something in your personnel records
Okay.
that shows either a base or a duty or a medal that you've received, or like a lot of times it'll have transfer paper, papers that say, hey, they were in Vietnam from X to X, they're now being transferred to this particular base somewhere else. Any kind of thing like that shows that you were in Vietnam for any period of time. We've even had cases where they were flying from point A to point B. They landed in Vietnam, and got off the plane for a second, got back on, went off wherever they were going, just as good as if you were in the middle of the jungle. So anything, even if you can show that you were on a plane that just passed through, then you can still be presumptively service connected. That's a little bit tougher to show, but a lot of times there's going to be something in your personnel records that is a definitive record that shows, hey, this person was in Vietnam.
Okay, great information, great information. Yeah. Well, Nathan, if someone has specific questions, how can they reach out to you or your firm?
So they can give us a call at 251-343-1111, or they can reach us online at www.gardberglaw.com. That's GARDBERG law.com. They can check out our website there. They can also email us from our website. And I think I've mentioned this before, but the great thing about VA law is that, hey, we're in Alabama, but we're all accredited through the VA, which means that if you're in Kentucky, if you're in Arizona, if you're in Michigan, you can be in North Dakota, it doesn't matter. You can call us. You can send your case to us to be evaluated, and we can take your case, if we think we can help you and work on it no matter where you are in the country. Really, as long as you're somewhere in the world, we can really help you through the VA system.
Outstanding. Nathan, as always, thanks so much for your time today. Great information.
Well, thank you for giving me the chance to get it out there. I really appreciate it, as always.
Yes. And to those of you watching, either live or by replay, if you have questions, comments, leave them right on this page. We'll get back to you, answer all your questions. Thanks, everybody, for being with us. Have a great day.